Wargaming is lazy. And as we know, also greedy. Combine those two and you get crap. Let's talk about their laziness. Now, specifically, the ones who make the decisions are lazy and stupid and should be fired because they suck. Alright, I'm just gonna be brutally honest. Let's get into why here. This is the double tap Tier 9 American heavy tank, the TS-54. Those of you coming from PC might be thinking, did you say Tier 9? Did you say TS-54? Yes, I did. Because on PC, this tank is Tier 8. And that's mind-boggling to me, because this tank would actually be decent at Tier 8. I still think it would be bottom of the pack, or middle of the pack, if it was Tier 8. But here on console, we have it at Tier 9. You have 280 alpha damage at Tier 9. And now, just to put in perspective, the IS-2 at Tier 8, Tech Tree Russian double barrel heavy tank, has 300 alpha damage, and that's considered too low. The tank underperforms, especially considering the Object 703-2 exists. Then you take 280 and you move it up to Tier 9, and let me tell you why they did this. They did this for two reasons. Well, both reasons are the same, but they got to add them together. Tier 8 heavy tanks usually sell for about 10,000 to 15,000 gold, usually around 10,500. That's kind of the average. The better ones get higher and higher. And so 10,500 gold for this tank, I wouldn't spend that. But then they made it a skinned version. The skinned versions usually jump it up another 1,000 to 2,000 gold. So now we're talking 13,000 gold for this tank. Then they moved it up to Tier 9. Tier 9s usually sell for about 17,000 gold, 17,000, 17,500. So they get to sell this tank for 17,500 gold, and it's a copy-paste from the PC. That is why they moved it up. They don't care that it's not balanced in the way of underperforming. They don't care. They just moved it up so that you spend more money. Even Unicums who do play this tank from time to time, because this is a rare tank, admit that it's not good. I've had plenty of people tell me this tank is terrible, but they still play it because they like it, and that's fine. Some people just like bad tanks because they like that challenge, but this tank is garbage, and they promoted it as though it was going to be incredible. Double barrel tank. Then we've got the Nemesis MBT. Yes, if you're from PC, this is not a Tier 10. It is a Tier 10 heavy tank here on console, but on PC it is a Tier 8 medium tank. When they introduced this at Tier 10 here in console, it had the same armor as the Tier 8 medium tank did. The same. But they moved it up 2 tiers and classified it as a heavy tank. Yeah, let that sink in. They've recently buffed the armor a bit. It still sucks, and the gun is awful. Like, the gun handling, it doesn't make any sense. And that's because it's the gun handling of a Tier 8 medium tank. But Tier 8 mediums sell for about 8,000. Tier 10 heavies you can sell for 25,000 gold. $100. So, rather than introducing a balanced tank, they introduced a turd for as much money as they possibly could. Now we've got the term, the CloneGuyTV 3 GST. Have you noticed how inaccurate the gun is and how derpy it is and how long it takes to aim? And have you also noticed that the alpha is really low for a tank destroyer? And have you also noticed that it's only got 265 penetration? Did you also know that this has a 46% win rate across the board? It's got the lowest win rate of any Tier 10 heavy tank minus the, what is that? The 114, which is the Chinese Tier 8 heavy, or Tier 10 tank destroyer. This has the lowest. I think those two battle, and they go back and forth, but it's 46%. Well, that's because this is a Tier 8 tank destroyer on PC. They changed nothing except the health. They brought it, and think about using this at Tier 8, and it might actually be good. They brought it to Tier 10, changed nothing. The turret gets penned by everything, both sides. Just aim for the skull. It is a weak spot. Bada bing, bada boom, you pen it, and you damage to ammo wreck. The gun does not hit unless you stop and aim for a while. 265 pen is awful. It's just a terrible tank. It's got some roles in competitive because of its aggressive playstyle, and it works there. But in pubs, it doesn't. It's awful. It is a Tier 8 tank destroyer, moved up to Tier 10 and given more health. That's it. That is your term. Awful. Then Project Marat. This one is actually one of the only ones here that's decent that's been moved up a tier. It is tier 9 on PC. They moved it up to tier 10 here and gave it some buffs, and it actually works really well. But again, that is strictly to bump up the price, the gold value. Instead of it being worth 17,000 gold at tier 9, it's now worth 24 to 25,000 gold at tier 10, $100. Lastly, we have... here it is, the CZ OLG, or the Tonk, and this isn't last actually, we have some more stuff to show. The Tonk is a tier 10 here on PC, tier 10 Polish heavy tank. On console. On PC, it is a tier 9. This one does well as well, they've buffed it reasonably so, and have actually made it workable at tier 10. So that is nice indeed. But we are not done yet. We've got some things to show you that I do not own. Let's jump over here. Let's see. Oh, the AAT-60, tier 10 tank destroyer. It used to be tier 9 tank destroyer. Here on console, it is a tier 8 medium tank on PC. Again, so that they're not selling it for 7,800 gold, but instead, they're selling it for 25,000 gold. I think it was 19,000 at tier 9, and now it's like 25,000 at tier 10. Absolutely insane. And now we also have the Iron Arnie. This is a tier 10 on console. Tier 10 that sells for over 25,000 gold. It is a tier 8 medium. A tier 8 medium on PC. Sells for 8,000 gold. Holy moly. And now for the one that angers me the most. The Sinjitsu. The Shinjitsu TO55. Basically a T55. Moved down a tier. This one was not on PC. But I'm going to get into why this is so aggravating. This tank is overtuned. It should be tier 9. It is so bloody good. Look at the gun. It's got the old gun that the... there it is. The old gun that the T55 and T54 had. 201 pen, 330 heat. That did fine at tier 9. Then they buffed the T55 and said, and the T54, since we buffed those, may as well release the non-buffed version and put it down at tier 8. Yes, we literally have a balanced tier 9 pre-buff moved down to tier 9. And it's disgusting. And they've given it a flamethrower here on console. Absolutely disgusting what it can do. But this, unfortunately, instead of fixing it and moving it up a tier or giving it a nerf, they fixed it by releasing the same tank again, but moving it to tier 9. They recognize that the tank is too good at tier 8. So what do? They up-tier a reskinned version and sell it for more gold. It's exactly the same. They give it a little bit more penetration. Instead of 201, it's 221. And they give it a bit more view range. Instead of 380, it's 395. And they give it a bit more DPM. But it's the same gun. It's the same tank. It's the same. The Sinjutsu, look, it just has barely any buffs around it. Same engine, same fire chance, same top speed, same reverse speed. V range is different. Traverse speed is slightly different. Okay? Aim time is slightly better on the tier 9. It's the same tank. And so they've done what they've been doing with bringing PC tanks to console, but they did it with their own tank. They took a tank they already had, re-released it by moving it up a tier. Now, it's actually balanced at tier 9, but then you still have the Sinjitsu at tier 8, which is very imbalanced. And we're not done yet. Moving back to Xbox, we've got the Party Wagon, which is a Skoda T50. The Skoda T50 has 320 alpha damage and tends to suffer. Unicoms do very well in it, but it tends to suffer. It only goes 50. It's very big. 320 alpha damage, 3-shot autoloader. I like it. I think it's great, but a lot of other players do not. So rather than addressing the Skoda T50, maybe buffing it, maybe helping it out, give it 360 alpha damage, maybe more speed, they just released a premium tank instead, the Party Wagon, which is an eyesore, ugly, And it's literally just better. Same reload, almost. I think this one's like a second longer reload. But you have 360 alpha damage instead of 320. And you have the same interclip reload, so you're putting those out just as quickly. And your base speed is 60 instead of 50. And it has a rapid mode, allowing it to go 70. It's better in every single way at the same tier. Strictly so they could sell it for 17,500 gold. Rather than fixing the game that's already there. The tank in the game that's already there. They don't want to fix the game. They just want to hurt it more. And we're not done yet. We've got the SFAC, which came from PC, double shot. And the Object 7032 double barrel double shot tank on PC. If you fire one of your guns, the other gun, if it's not loaded, has to restart loading. And so you can't just fire a shell off every 5 seconds like you can, I think it's 6 seconds, every 6 seconds like you can here on PC, giving you 4,000 DPM at tier 8. You can't do that. You have to wait for the other one to reload. And if you don't, then you have to reload both guns. That's a balance mechanic. And you can't just snap off both shots. You have to charge it. It takes about 2.5 seconds. You go, poof, I think it's 2 seconds actually. And then both shells come out. Here, they couldn't figure either of those mechanics out. So they just said, who cares? Let's not change anything about the tank, just release it. Your guns reload independent to each other. So if you fire one gun, the other gun is still reloading. And then loads. And then you can fire off the other one. You don't have to reload both guns if you fire one. And you don't have to charge up your double shot. You just switch to double mode and you can fire it whenever you want in an instant. Boom! 780 alpha damage. And that's if you don't roll high. Just like that. It's insane. That's why these two tanks are so overtuned. And we're not done yet. Then you have the IS-3A. We have the Fatherland and the IS-3A. This tank underperforms here on console, and it underperformed on PC, vastly so. So what did they do on PC? They gave it an auto reloader, and now it's very competitive and used to be considered overtuned for a bit until the meta started to change because people figured out how great this was, and then they figured out how to defeat it and how great other tanks were. And that always happens in games. But this tank was very good on PC. Well, what did they do here on console? Did they give us that? No, they did not. By the way, this used to be the most expensive tier 8 heavy in the game at 15,500 gold. Absolutely. Actually, I think it was 15,300 because the brick became the most expensive at 15,500. One of the most expensive tanks ever released. You could earn it, but it was like you spun things, and maybe you got it, maybe you didn't. It was free to spin, so that was fine. But if you wanted to buy it, it was the most expensive tank ever released in the game at the time. What did they do? No, they did not give us an auto reloader. In fact, they did nothing to the tank. Instead, they released the stockade for you to buy. You could earn it as well, but you could also buy it with an auto loader, not even an auto reloader. Gosh, they just said, huh, if we buff this tank, we don't get money from it. Yes, you do. Buff the tank and resell it. Buff the tank and resell it, but they didn't want to do that. They said, if you want this gun on virtually the same tank, you have to buy a whole new tank, even if you already had this tank and you already spent $125 for it. That's what they did. And we're not done yet. The Emil 1951. Basically an Emil 1, okay? Our tech tree Emil 1 has 320 alpha damage. It used to have 320 alpha damage on PC as well, but it got buffed to 360, along with the Emil 1951. Not here on console. Our tech tree still has 320 alpha damage with the 4-shot autoloader and the long reload. The Emil 1951 has the buff 360 alpha damage, 3-shot autoloader, and a quicker reload. Again, if you want the better tank, you buy the premium tank. We're not going to buff your tech trees. We're not going to buff your pre-existing premium tanks. We're not going to nerf your pre-existing premium tanks. Instead, we're going to release tanks that are just better, or worse, or more balanced, like they're supposed to be. But you have to pay more money for it. Gosh, they do not take care of their customers. They expect you guys to be suckers and spend more money. It's like, oh, we actually, as the customer who bought this should be a recall, meaning you should give us your money back or send us the better product. That's how it works. But not Wargaming. Oh, this is a recall? That just means we're gonna re-release it for you to buy. Again. Lastly, we have the Grom 800 alpha damage on PC, but that's if you're up close. The closer you are, the more damage you have, up to 800 damage. They could not figure that mechanic out here on console, so they just gave it 700 alpha damage. And they buffed the reload by 1 second. You have a 1 second quicker reload here on console, but you do 700 across the board. You don't have to be close and you're doing 700. It's absolutely insane. And so it's just a better tank. And on PC, it's a 100mm gun. You don't overmatch much with a 100mm gun. Here on console, it's 162. It's 162 millimeters. It doesn't tell you that. It does. It's right there, 162 millimeter. What the heck? It's 100mm on PC, like I said, the G100. They get 100mm. We get the 162 version. And so it's overmatching everything. It's like, oh, 50mm of roof armor, which most tanks have less than that. Overmatch, bada bing, bada boom. Oh, your side armor? I'll partially overmatch that, giving me twice the normalization. Oh, underbelly, easy overmatch. It just pens everything because of that. It's absolutely insane what they've done to this tank. They did not want to address the issues or introduce the mechanics that made the tank semi-balanced on PC, because even on PC, it's still a bit overtuned, people like to say. But here on console, it is so overtuned, it's disgusting. Golly. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is just one of the reasons why Wargaming is lazy. Lazy and greedy, combine them together, and what do? They take advantage of their customers. They do not hand out recalls. Nope, no recalls allowed. We realize our mistake, so we're gonna fix it simply by selling you another tank that's fixed. So do you want to buy it or not? Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Absolutely disgusting. Wait for reviews to come out, is my opinion. Wait till a YouTuber reviews a tank. Wait till multiple YouTubers review tanks, because you do have butt kisser CCs, butt kisser content creators who like to tell you that tanks are fantastic, solely so that they stay in the good graces of Wargaming. So wait for people who aren't CCs to, you know, review these tanks. Oh my goodness. Golly G Jones, man. But that's my rant for the day. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, slap that like button, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be seeing you guys all later. Take care, everyone. And peace out.